Everyone knew it. Adrian liked to keep women on the side, but he was fiercely protective, never allowing them to cause a scene in front of me. This was because I had once told him that if he ever had someone else, I would disappear from his world forever. So, he had always hidden it from me very well. Until that day, I saw a string of live comments. Hasn't Adrian been keeping that little bird for 2 years now? You bet. They're going at it in the Maybach right now. Staring at the comments scrolling across the screen, I froze. Adrian, a Maybach. The comments kept coming. Adrian has a whole garden of beauties on the side. The poor female lead has been kept in the dark for so many years. He's afraid she'll leave him if she finds out. Can't control himself. So he just has people hide it from her. Adrian had someone else. But just a moment ago, he had made me dinner before he left, nagging me not to forget to eat. How could a man whose world seemed to revolve around me? I clenched my fists, forcing myself to calm down. Following the comments, I went down to the underground garage. The next second, I saw clothes scattered on the ground and a rocking Maybach. The license plate was a 888,888. That was Adrian's car. And right now, Adrian was inside, his suit in disarray, a delicate woman sitting in his lap. It was his personal assistant, Mila. Just as the comments had said, Adrian was with someone else. Mila had her arms around his neck, cooing coquettishly. Mr. Thorne, it's so cramped in here. I want to go to your villa. In the next instant, Adrian, who had been lost in passion, froze. His face slowly darkened, his movements losing all their previous tenderness. He gently pushed Mila away, his voice dropping to an icy low. I've told you, you can do whatever you want outside, but you are never to bring it in front of her. Otherwise, I'll make you regret it. Mila's face paled slightly. After a moment, she said meekly, I understand. Mr. Thorne, please don't be angry. Adrian, satisfied, kissed her on the cheek. He whispered softly, good girl. Neither of them noticed my presence. Soon, the car started moving again. My heart sank. Bit by bit, my whole body felt as if it were in a freezer. I don't know when the tears started to fall. The female lead finally found out that scumbag Adrian cheated. Adrian and Mila have been together for 2 years. Right. TSK. And he had other women before that. The poor female lead, kept in the dark for so many years. Everyone in the elite circle knows Adrian likes to keep women on the side while pretending to be a devoted man at home. He's just so powerful that no one dares to tell his wife. So, Adrian had been cheating for a long time. The only one in the dark was me. And here I was, foolishly believing for all these years that we were in love, that we only had each other. What a joke. I suddenly felt incredibly sick. After leaving the garage, I threw up for a long time, until I felt like I was bringing up bile. I didn't go home. Instead, I walked in the rain for a long time. As dawn broke, I finally said to the system in my mind, take me back. System. Return sequence initiated. Countdown to return. 5 days. I murmured. Okay. Since he had broken his promise, there was no reason for me to stay. I wasn't from this world. I had come here on a mission. During that mission, I met, got to know, and fell in love with Adrian. In the end, for him, I chose to stay. The system had also given me a reward. I could leave whenever I wanted. I still remember when I chose to stay. Adrian was so happy he almost went mad. He held me all night, too excited to sleep. I told him that if he ever had someone else, I would leave this place. He had laughed and said with absolute certainty, I will never give you a chance to leave. I had also believed I would stay here forever. I never thought that in just a few years, everything would change. I spent the whole night composing myself. Then, I walked back to the villa. As I reached the door, I saw Adrian. He was soaked to the bone, his face pale, looking utterly wretched. When he saw me, he rushed over, his face etched with anxiety. He pulled me into a tight embrace. He used so much force it was as if he wanted to meld me into his body. My waist even started to ache. He seemed terrified that I would leave. His arms, holding me, were trembling slightly. He held me for a long time before he finally regained his composure. He let out a breath, his voice hoarse. Honey, you scared me to death. I thought you were leaving me. I stood stiffly, letting him hold me. Yes, I am leaving you. As I looked up, The dense barrage of comments appeared again. After Adrian finished his business last night, he found the female lead wasn't home and searched for her in the pouring rain all night. He's madly in love with her. He'd rather die than lose her. When he couldn't find her last night, he thought she had left and almost went insane. TSK. Madly in love, and he's still sleeping with other women. And he says he's with Mila and the others because the female lead can't have children. And he wants one of them to have a baby for him to raise with her. Pfft. Just a fancy excuse for not being able to control himself. Because I wasn't from this world. I couldn't have children here. I had told Adrian this long ago. I remember he had held me excitedly and said, I don't like kids. As long as I have you. That's enough for this lifetime. And now, have a baby? What a ridiculous excuse. Since he wanted a child, I would let him have his wish. I didn't ask Adrian about Mila. And he didn't ask me why I wasn't home last night. He seemed to have sensed something and was tiptoeing around me, not letting me out of his sight for a second, afraid I would disappear again. But I didn't have the energy to deal with him. After being drenched in the rain all night, I fell ill with a high fever, confined to my bed. Adrian, usually so busy, was now completely free. He took care of me for 3 days and 3 nights without rest. During that time, he held me tightly countless times, whispering in my ear, Honey, we're going to be together forever. Forever. That's too long. In a few more days, I would be gone. Adrian, you can't have your cake and eat it too. If you want a child, you should be with the child's mother forever. During those 3 days, Adrian's phone rang many times, but each time, he would impatiently silence it, tossing it aside without even a glance. I asked him, Aren't you going to answer? What if it's an emergency from the office? Adrian held my hand, his eyes full of deep affection. Nothing is more important than you. TSK. It's all calls and texts from Mila. How could he dare to look? Please. He's slept with several women. What's with this? I only want the female lead. Act now. His body can be with others, but his heart only belongs to the female lead. How devoted. I looked down at Adrian's lovelorn expression and couldn't help but smile. For so many years, I had been deceived by this look of deep affection countless times. But not this time. On the 4th day, I was feeling a little better. Adrian finally couldn't hold on any longer and fell asleep. But even in his sleep, he stubbornly held onto my hand, murmuring, Honey, don't leave me. Even the system couldn't help but ask, Host, are you still planning to leave? Adrian seems madly in love with you. You might not meet another man who loves you this much. I can make an exception and cancel your return request. I didn't answer. I just looked down at Adrian. He had cared for me for 3 days without sleep, and the dark circles under his eyes made him look haggard. It was true, just as the comments said. He was madly in love with me, but he had also betrayed me. The next moment, his phone rang again. Adrian was in a deep sleep and didn't hang up immediately like before. I glanced at it. It was a call from Mila. I didn't hang up. I just let it ring for a long time. After the ringing finally stopped, a stream of messages came through. I reached out and picked up his phone. The screen showed 99 missed calls from Mila, and 99 messages from her. As if on cue, just as I picked up the phone, Adrian suddenly woke up. He saw me holding his phone, and his expression changed dramatically. He sat up abruptly and snatched the phone from my hand, his movement so fast it caught me off guard. A second later, he realized what he had done and asked guiltily, Honey, I just woke up. My head's a little fuzzy. Did you see who was messaging me? She didn't get to see. If the female lead had just opened it, she would have seen the pregnancy test report the little bird sent. Disgusting. That scumbag is really going to be a father. He's actually getting his wish. I clenched my fists and slowly shook my head. No, your phone was just ringing nonstop. So, it was a pregnancy test report. No wonder Mila was so desperate to find him. He glanced at the dark screen of his phone and visibly relaxed. He smiled easily. Probably a business partner. Don't worry about it, I said softly. The phone kept ringing. It might be something urgent. Aren't you going to check? Hearing this, Adrian frowned, a hint of worry in his eyes. Look at your phone. You scumbag. Your little bird is pregnant. You're finally going to be a father. I'm gonna be sick. Scumbag and a homewrecker. They deserve each other. As expected, he could no longer ignore Mila's messages. He slowly sat up, turning the phone away from me so I couldn't see the screen, before carefully unlocking it. Gradually, a look of ecstatic joy spread across his face, his smile widening. It seemed he was both excited and happy about this new arrival, even though my heart was already dead to Adrian. Seeing him like this still sent a sharp pain through me. Adrian, seemingly eager to see Mila and their baby, didn't notice my distress. He didn't even look at me as he got out of bed, put on his shoes, and rushed towards the door. At the doorway, he seemed to remember something and said guiltily, "Honey, something came up at the office. I need to take care of it. I'll be back to spend the evening with you." I looked at him for a long moment and said to the system in my mind, "Don't cancel it." System. Understood. Host. In 2 more days, you will be able to return. Adrian, seeing my silence, looked puzzled. "Honey, what's wrong?" I looked up at him and asked seriously, "Adrian, can you not go? I want you to stay with me for 2 more days, just to say a proper goodbye to our many years together." Adrian's expression was hesitant and conflicted, but I smiled softly. "Just 2 more days. After these 2 days, I won't stop you anymore." After a long pause, as if he had made a decision, he nodded. He put his arm around my waist and said with a chuckle, "This is the first time I've seen you so clingy." "Okay, I promise. But not just for 2 days. I'll be with you for a lifetime." "Too bad. You won't have that chance." For the next 2 days, though Adrian was physically present, his mind seemed to be elsewhere. He was distracted, his thoughts frequently drifting. But he still took me to many places. The place where we first met, the place where we had our first date, and the place where we made our relationship official. Adrian held my hand and smiled. "Honey, we're going to be together like this forever, until we're old and gray." I didn't answer. I just looked down at my phone. Today, Mila had sent me many photos, her pregnancy test report, and many pictures of her with Adrian in his office, in his bed, in his Maybach. She wrote, "Sister, the baby misses his daddy. Please, let him come see us." I turned off my phone. No need to rush. In 2 more days, you can be together forever. On my last day, Adrian started checking his phone frequently. His distraction from the day before had turned into agitation. He was even starting to show a hint of impatience with me, but he still had his wits about him and managed to control himself most of the time, patiently helping me pack up all the things related to our years together. In the end, we had filled 2 rooms. There were photos documenting our life together, gifts we had given each other for holidays and birthdays, and clothes we had worn, things we had used, and so on. Adrian suppressed his anxiety and asked with a smile, "Honey, what are we doing with all this stuff?" I said softly, "I just realized we have so many memories together. So many memories. All in this little house." Adrian held me and chuckled. "We'll have even more memories in the future." I shook my head silently. "No, we won't." I had 1 hour left. Adrian's phone rang. He answered, and his face instantly changed. "What?" "In the hospital." Adrian looked frantic and started for the door. I reached out and grabbed his arm. "You promised me," I said softly. Adrian turned, his face dark, his voice thick with impatience and blame. "I've been with you for so many days. What more do you want? If you hadn't insisted on me staying, this wouldn't have." He paused, then gritted his teeth. "Can you stop being so unreasonable?" I looked up at the flashing comments. TSK. Mila deliberately fell to get Adrian to see her, and she's telling him she's showing signs of premature labor. Adrian values this baby so much. He must be frantic. Let me guess what he was about to say. He's probably blaming the female lead for making him stay. Otherwise Mila wouldn't have fallen. Now Mila's at the hospital, but she won't let the doctors see her. She's just crying and waiting for Adrian. TSK. TSK. How could he possibly stay here? Unreasonable. I slowly let go of his arm and said softly, "Fine. Go." I had wanted him to see me off one last time. Since it wasn't meant to be, so be it. Adrian let out a sigh of relief, realizing his tone had been too harsh. He said softly, "Something very serious happened at the office. I'll make it up to you in a few days. You can have me for as long as you want then." With that, without another glance at me, he turned and rushed out. I watched his retreating back and thought, no need. There won't be a next time. TSK. The The scumbag heard his baby was in trouble and rushed off without even a final look at the female lead. Actually, Mila is completely fine. She was just faking it to get him to come. By the time he gets back, it'll be too late for regrets. That scumbag deserves this. Serves him right for not getting to see the female lead one last time. I sat by the window, looking out at the scenery. After some time, my phone buzzed. Mila had sent me 2 photos. One was of Adrian sitting beside her, peeling an apple. The other was of them holding hands, wearing matching rings. Just as the comments had said, Mila had faked it to get him to come. The baby was fine. Then, Mila sent another message. Sister, you try to keep him so close, but he still came to me, didn't he? He cares a lot about me and my baby. When he first arrived, he was so worried his forehead was sweating. Sister, you lost. Yes, you won. Congratulations. After sending that message, I turned off my phone. At the same time, I heard the system's voice. Host, 1 minute remaining until departure. Do you have any final requests? I want to disappear completely, without leaving a single trace in this world. Conveniently, all of our memories were in this house. I could take them with me. System. Understood. Host, your request has been received. The villa will be engulfed in flames in 50 seconds. I nodded, then took out my phone and dialed Adrian's number. After a long time, just as the system's 10-second countdown began, Adrian finally answered. His voice was a little shaky, but he tried to sound gentle. Honey, why aren't you asleep yet? Is it because I'm not there? I'll be back as soon as I'm done with things at the office. Busy with the office. Or busy in his little bird's bed. Please. He's been putting on this act for so long. Good thing the female lead finally woke up. Get lost. You scumbag. Can't even keep it in his pants when his pregnant mistress is in the hospital. Disgusting. So, they were being intimate even in the hospital. I gently touched my chest, where a trembling pain resided. I said softly, Adrian, I wish you and your family of 3 a happy life. And, goodbye. As the words left my lips, a raging fire instantly consumed the entire villa. TSK. TSK. The scumbag seems to have realized something. He's so scared his face has gone white. You bet. He's so scared he's gone limp. He's scrambling out of bed, ignoring his little bird's protests, not even bothering with shoes, just running barefoot towards home. Too bad. No matter how fast he runs, he won't get to see the female lead one last time. I heard Adrian's panicked, trembling voice. Honey, what's wrong? I'm almost home. Don't scare me. At the same time, I heard the system's countdown end. Congratulations, host. The departure sequence is complete. You will be leaving immediately. The next moment, my vision went black, and I lost consciousness. Before I left, I forwarded all of Mila's photos, voice messages, and texts to Adrian. Since I was leaving, I might as well give him one last gift. After being deceived for so many years, I had some resentment. If I didn't let it out, I was afraid I would dwell on it and regret it for the rest of my life. It wasn't worth it. As for the future, now that I had left, I had truly let go. What happened to him? What happened to Mila? Had nothing to do with me anymore. The system's departure service was excellent. I didn't feel any pain. After I lost consciousness, the fire began to consume my body. With the system's help, the fire burned faster than usual. Soon, my body was reduced to ashes. Our memories were burned away completely. By the time Adrian, barefoot and disheveled, arrived, all that was left was the smoldering ruins of the villa. Seeing this, Adrian's eyes instantly turned red, like a madman. He tried to rush into the villa. Honey, don't be afraid. I'm coming to save you. You'll be fine. I won't let you die. He kept mumbling, his voice trembling violently. He seemed terrified, his face a deathly white. But before he could get close, Mila, who had just gotten out of her car, threw her arms around him. Although the inside of the villa had been completely incinerated by the system, the fire outside was still raging. If Adrian rushed in, he would be committing suicide. Mila, naturally, was not willing to let the father of her future child die here. She cried and begged, Mr. Thorne, don't be reckless. If you won't think of yourself, at least think of me and the baby. She might not even be in there. If something happens to you, what will the baby and I do? Hearing her words, Adrian hesitated for a moment. He had rushed over as soon as he hung up, so he hadn't seen the messages I forwarded him. He didn't know how Mila had been provoking me behind his back. In his eyes, Mila was still the gentle, obedient, and considerate woman. Hearing her say I might not be inside, he calmed down a little. Mila shot a hateful glare at the villa, a flash of triumph and glee in her eyes. Clearly, she was happy about my demise, but on the surface, she continued to gently persuade him. I've already called the fire department. They'll be here soon. If she's not inside, and you get hurt rushing in, she would worry too, wouldn't she? Adrian nodded and stopped trying to go in. He pushed Mila away and said coldly, "Stay away from me. Remember, you're just my assistant. Don't let her see and misunderstand." With that, he looked down and tried to call me again. He didn't notice the flash of hatred and resentment in Mila's eyes. My phone had long been destroyed by the fire, so of course, he couldn't get through. Adrian's face grew anxious again. He called his assistant. "Find out where my wife went today." Soon, the firefighters arrived and began to extinguish the flames, and the assistant's call came through. "Mr. Thorne, I've checked. Your wife has been at the villa all day and hasn't left." Adrian's face went deathly pale. "That's impossible. She must be fine," Mila said cautiously. "Mr. Thorne, do you think maybe she found out something and is just trying to scare you?" Adrian's expression grew even darker. He clenched his fists. "Yes. She just wished our family of 3. She must have found out something. She said that if she ever found out I had someone else, she would disappear forever." At that thought, his eyes filled with despair. Mila said, in her most cloying voice, "Mr. Thorne, don't worry. How could she really be so foolish as to die? With her personality, she's probably just trying to get back at you. Get back at you for having another woman. She probably just set the house on fire to put on a show for you." Adrian clenched his fists tighter, his expression softening slightly. "My dear, using such a trick to scare me. You've really gone too far this time." Just then, the firefighters finally extinguished the blaze. They brought out a charred female corpse. The moment Adrian saw it, his face went completely white. His assistant rushed over with a medical examiner. After a long moment, he said to Adrian, his face ashen, "Mr. Thorne, we've compared the DNA. This body, it is indeed your wife's." At that moment, Adrian finally believed I was dead. His body swayed violently, and in the next second, he coughed up a mouthful of blood. Mila rushed to support him. "Mr. Thorne, are you all right?" Adrian threw her off, his eyes bloodshot as he roared, "Get away from me. If it weren't for you, nothing would have happened to her." Mila stumbled and fell to the ground, clutching her stomach in pain. But Adrian had no time for her. His eyes were fixed on the corpse. He stumbled over to it, held it tightly, and broke down, sobbing. "Honey, don't scare me. Wake up. Open your eyes and look at me, please," he begged, his eyes full of despair. The Adrian before me seemed to have aged decades in an instant. The confident, charismatic man was gone, replaced by endless despair and emptiness. Later, Adrian held the corpse for 3 days and 3 nights, refusing to eat or drink, just sitting in front of the villa. Mila cried and pleaded with him, even fainting several times, but he remained unmoved. It wasn't until the body began to decompose and a concerned citizen complained that the authorities ordered him to arrange for a proper burial. Only then did Adrian finally hold my funeral. After the funeral, Adrian frantically searched the villa for anything related to me, but found nothing. Everything had been taken by the fire. He collapsed in front of the villa and laughed bitterly. "Is this my punishment?" Later, as if remembering something, he held my urn day and night, just as he had held me countless times. "At least you left me one thing." But on the 3rd day after the funeral, the urn inexplicably fell and shattered. Adrian scrambled to gather the ashes, but a gust of wind blew through the window, and the ashes were scattered, leaving not a single trace. The system had fulfilled its promise. Nothing of mine was left in this world. After that day, Adrian completely broke down. He wandered around like a ghost, asking everyone he met if they had seen his wife. Mila tried to bring him back, constantly crying in front of him, telling him that, even though I was gone, he still had her and their child. But Adrian remained lost in his own world, giving her no response. Until one day, he opened his phone, hoping to find a picture of me, and saw the messages I had sent him. The messages Mila had sent me. When he went to find Mila, she was in the hospital. She had suffered a miscarriage after he pushed her, and her recent emotional turmoil had made her condition even more unstable. She had to stay in the hospital for observation. When she saw Adrian enter, her eyes lit up. She said happily, "Mr. Thorne, you finally remembered us. Don't worry, even though she's gone, the baby and I will always be with you. Our family of 3 will always be together." A family of 3. Adrian, likely remembering my last phone call, sneered. "You're worthy," he said coldly. The smile on Mila's face froze. "Mr. Thorne." Adrian walked over, his hand closing around her throat, tightening his grip. Mila's face was filled with terror as she struggled frantically. Mr. Thorne." Adrian's expression was grim. "I told you, if you dared to tell her about us, I would make you wish you were never born. You've got some nerve. Sending her those things. You killed my love. You made me lose her forever. I will make you pay 100 times over." Adrian's face grew more and more savage, his eyes burning with a crazed killing intent. Mila was terrified. She beat at his arm, and just as she was about to lose consciousness, he finally let go. Mila collapsed onto the bed, gasping for air. Adrian looked down at her. "Letting you die so easily would be too good for you." Mila was terrified. She knelt on the bed and begged, her voice trembling. "Mr. Thorne, I didn't mean to. Please. For the sake of our child, forgive me this once. I just care about you too much. I'll never do it again. I swear." "Child," Adrian scoffed. "Now that she's gone, you think I still care about this child? You and this child drove her away. You should both be punished." In her terror, Mila started to bleed. She clutched her stomach, her face contorted in pain. Doctor. She grabbed Adrian's arm and begged. "Mr. Thorne, our child. Go get a doctor." Adrian watched her indifferently. Mila's pain intensified, and the bleeding grew heavier. She lost a lot of blood, and the baby was gone. Later, Adrian took Mila to his basement and kept her prisoner for a long time. He blamed all his pain on her, torturing her daily, making her feel the agony of being burned alive, but always keeping her just barely alive. While torturing Mila, he never gave up looking for me. He always remembered that I had told him I was a transmigrator. So, Adrian invested in many transmigration projects, hoping to travel to my world and find me. He was convinced I wasn't dead, just disappointed, and had abandoned him to return to my own world. But after more than a decade of trying, he had made no progress. He tried using his blood as a medium to transmigrate, but failed. He tried with his hair, but that also failed. He tried jumping off a building, being burned alive with Mila, but nothing worked. More than a decade passed like this. He, like Mila, was a shadow of his former self, his face and body scarred and disfigured. At only 40, he looked like a man of 60 or 70. Mila cursed him daily in the basement, calling him a madman, begging him to stop torturing her and just kill her. But he never listened. Later, Adrian's enemies found out about Mila's imprisonment and reported it to the police. After being rescued, Mila quickly committed suicide, and Adrian, for his many illegal activities in his quest to transmigrate, on top of imprisoning Mila, was sentenced to life in prison. His health was failing. He only survived for 5 years in prison before he was on his deathbed. Adrian only remembered hearing a mechanical voice before he died. "Do you really want to see her?" Adrian's cloudy eyes lit up. "Who are you? Can you find her? Please. Can you take me to see her?" The mechanical voice said. "I can. But when your soul travels through time and space, it will likely be greatly damaged." Adrian said eagerly. "I can accept anything." The mechanical voice asked. "Even if you can only exist for a few hours, just to see her once before your soul dissipates, you can accept that?" Adrian nodded without hesitation. "I can accept that. Very well. I will take you to see her one last time." When I woke up again, I learned that this body had only been asleep for a month. A month ago, I had died from overwork. The system found me and said that if I completed the mission, I could live again. So, I went to Adrian's world. I had grown up in an orphanage, alone and destitute. I had been poor for so long that my life had been a monotonous cycle of working overtime, trying to earn and save money. Because I worked so hard, I had become a general manager before I was 30, with a seven-figure salary. I had bought a car and a house, living the life I had always dreamed of. Unfortunately, I hadn't enjoyed it for long before I died of exhaustion. When I woke up, the doctors called it a medical miracle. They advised me to take better care of myself and not to abuse my body like that again. I nodded sincerely. The first thing I did was resign from my company. Thanks to my years of relentless work, the money I had saved was enough for me to be financially independent. From now on, I just wanted to live a good life. After resigning, I opened a bed and breakfast by the sea. I hired a few employees and started living a relaxed life. My daily routine consisted of walking on the beach, learning to paint, arrange flowers, and bake. Life was leisurely and free. I rarely thought about my years in that other world, or about Adrian. To me, it was just a mistake. It was over and done with. After experiencing a relationship where I gave my all, I no longer trusted men. But a life without men was incredibly boring. I liked to select single, handsome men from the guests at my BB. If I found one I liked, I would invite him to be my model. After painting so many, a few fleeting romances would inevitably bloom. Of course, they never lasted long. The only thing I was responsible for was waiving their room fees. Over time, I think I started to understand why Adrian had so many women. The taste of a relationship with no strings attached was indeed quite nice. That day, as I was painting my new lover on the beach, I suddenly felt a strong presence behind me, as if someone were watching me intently. My new lover was a muscular man, my current type. Seeing me pause, he kissed my cheek and asked, "What's wrong, darling?" I shook my head, "Nothing," and continued painting. The feeling of being watched quickly disappeared. It must have been my imagination.